The Mash and Soul podcast starts now.
Hustling, 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 hustling. Every day I'm hustling, 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 every day I'm hustling.
Welcome everybody. I hope you guys all had a great weekend. This is the Mash and Soul podcast. Great weekend, guys. Great weekend. A lot of stuff happened. Today's just me. I'm riding solo. We got a lot of things to discuss. First off, I want to talk about the New York Giants. The New York freaking Giants. Obviously, if you guys know me, you know I hate the Giants. I hate the Giants with a passion. I'm a diehard Jets fan. And I just don't like them. But at the same time, you know, I thought they had a very, very good offseason. I thought they made a lot of the right moves. Didn't necessarily agree with drafting Saquon Barkley, but he's definitely good talent. He's producing. I thought they should have drafted one of those young quarterbacks. But I'm also a big Eli Manning fan. I was one of those guys who said, you know, I think Eli has a few more years left. And on Sunday, it was a huge disappointment. The team finally looked good. They were rolling. They were running some trick plays. They look like a real football team. And at the end, Gano of the Panthers hits a 63-yard field goal to give a heartbreaking loss to the Giants. It was really tough. And now everyone, you know, Beckham comes out, he says something, and everyone's blaming Eli, man. Everyone's saying, you know, what's going on? It's all falling apart. And even though I think, yeah, maybe it's time for a change, this was not Eli Manning's fault. It was not Eli's man. He actually had probably one of his better games. He looked good. The team looked good. The team looked energized. This again goes back to Pat Shurmur. You know, this is the week 5, like I said. This is week 5, and this was the first game they really looked good together. And the problem with that is, when you only have one good game in 5 weeks, and even though you played so well, and you should have won that game, it's going to be really, really hard for the Giants to get up for the next game. It's going to be really difficult. Because now you're at the point where you're losing the team. Now you're at the point where everyone's questioning Eli. Is Eli the leader? Is Eli the man? Should we have drafted a quarterback? Does Beckham get along with Eli? And again, this is the coach's fault. And this is also one other person's fault. This is the owner's fault. Ownership. Since last year, since the Eli Manning benching, even before that, since firing Tom Coughlin, who should have never gotten fired, who obviously is a much better coach than Bob McAdoo and Pat Shurmur, there has been issues since that point. Because since you made that decision that Tom Coughlin needed to go, the organization has been in shambles. Look at what Cincinnati's doing. Marvin Lewis has never won a Super Bowl for the Bengals. But look at how much better the ownership treats Marvin Lewis than the Giants treated Tom Coughlin. It's a disgrace the way they treated him. He won them 2 Super Bowls. People and Giants fans who are extremely spoiled don't realize how hard it is to win 2 Super Bowls. That they think, oh, you could just, the Super Bowl winning coaches just grow on trees. No, it doesn't. And you're finding that now. So shame on you, Giants fans. You wanted Coughlin to be out. And guess what? Coughlin's out. You thought he was an issue. You thought Jerry Reese was fine. Then you're like, oh, Jerry Reese is a problem. Now Gettleman's a problem. Eli's a problem. Shurmur's a problem. But there's one constant, and that is ownership, and that is the fans. And if Giants kept Coughlin, this wouldn't have been an issue. Because there would have been also no doubt in Eli, because Coughlin wouldn't let people doubt Eli. The morale would have been better. The chemistry would have been better. Like I said, look at the Bengals. Mike Brown had every reason to fire Marvin Lewis, but he gave him another chance because he knew he had a good coach, and he knows it's not all in the coach. Mike Brown is the one who finds the talent. He's a GM for the team. He knows it's on him as well, and that he has to provide the players, and he needed to provide a left tackle and some protection for Andy Dalton, and Andy Dalton can produce at a higher level. And that's exactly what's going on. And it's why continuity is so important in the NFL. It's so important. And Giants had it. And now, what the Giants are doing, now you're going to see them go on a path in the next, really, it could be a very long time before the Giants are good again. Because the next quarterback class isn't that good. The year after that is okay. But you're really looking at 3 years before the premier quarterback class comes out, where you have Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields coming out. Till then, it's hard for me to see elite quarterbacks. I really like Drew Lock. He's my favorite quarterback for next year. But again, I'm not sure that he's a top-tier talent, and I'm not sure he's a franchise quarterback yet. I like him a lot. He has that potential, but I'm not as sure as I am in those other guys like Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. Mark my words, those guys have the potential to be franchise quarterbacks if they stay healthy. And like I said, they're heading down a long road. And I know I'm a Jets fan. It's going to be very tough. And moving on to the Jets, winning again, beating the Denver Broncos, going 2-3. Great job by the defense. Great job. The team played good as a whole. Again, people want to say it was Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold had a good game. He managed the game well. But he was a product of good team play and defense. I still haven't seen him put the team on his shoulders and lead them to victory like Baker has. He needs to be up by a lot, and everything has to go right for Sam Darnold to win. But again, it's year one. It's okay if Baker Mayfield is ahead of him. He's supposed to be ahead of him throughout the career because he's the number one pick. And as long as Darnold keeps showing this, what he's been showing, this is good. He's progressing. But again, his biggest issue is consistency. But good win by the Jets because they were heading towards a downward spiral and they really needed this victory. And this was a team to beat. And their opponent, I have something to say about their opponent, John Elway and the Denver Broncos. Shame on John Elway. This savant, this genius, this guy who was always a great quarterback prospect, and then he became a really good GM, won the Super Bowl for the Broncos. But shame on him for passing on Josh Rosen and paying Case Keenum $20 million a year. Granted, Case Keenum looks very good. Statistically, he can look good. I don't care. But you know what you are with Case Keenum? You are not a playoff team. Not in that division. 7-9, 8-8, that's probably what they end up, and that's what they deserve, because you understand, you could have gotten Josh Rosen, who's a much better talent than Case Keenum, and you could have gotten him on the rookie scale. That would have meant you had 15 to 17 million to surround him with talent on a roster which is already loaded. So seriously, after this, John Elway should be on the hot seat. Because his quarterback selection, since he's been in Denver, yeah, he picked Peyton Manning. Great. Anyone can sign Peyton Manning. That's not impressive. But the quarterback to start, Paxton Lynch, total bust. If he signs Case Keenum, and I think you're going to start seeing Case Keenum slide, he's a good backup quarterback. But again, I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. And passing on Josh Rosen, the hot seat is going to start getting real for Elway. Maybe not this year, but it's going to heat up. Because again, the quarterback drafts aren't going to be that good going forward. So this was your time to get a franchise quarterback. And it was right after. They could have even traded down and gotten more assets and still gotten Josh Rosen. Maybe even Lamar Jackson. I don't love Josh Allen, so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not picking Josh Allen. But honestly, John Elway dropped the ball on this. John Elway dropped the ball. Vance Joseph is eventually going to get fired because John Elway is going to need a scapegoat. And that's just what's going to happen. It happens all the time in the NFL. And you know what? You're in this division with Pat Mahomes. You need a young quarterback because you're not going to be better than the Chargers this year because they got Phillip Rivers. What you're trying to do is, okay, there are two good quarterbacks in this division, Pat Mahomes and Derek Carr. What you're trying to do is be better than the Chargers in 3-4 years when Phillip Rivers retires. And then have a better roster than either Kansas City or Oakland, so that way you can be a consistent playoff team. So yeah, I think, it's going to be a tough road for Elway going forward. I think this is when the negativity steeps in. Now, on Sunday Night Football, we had the Battle of Texas. We had the Houston Texans play the Dallas Cowboys. And like John Elway, Jerry Jones, the decision maker for the Cowboys, he's at fault here. They lose a game against the Texans. Everyone's frustrated. Everyone's pissed off at Jason Garrett's fourth down punt, which I agree with, which was a dumb call. And Jason Garrett, who I've been following for years since he was a quarterback at Princeton, a backup quarterback for the Cowboys. I understand why Jerry Jones loves him. He's a good coach. And I think Garrett could even be a good coach for another team. But he's not the right coach for the Cowboys. Cowboys need a Jimmy Johnson type to be successful. They need a motivator. They need some dude with swag. And Jason Garrett doesn't have that. But again, Jones is the one who's been enabling him. He's the one who hasn't fired him. So it's on Jerry Jones. And again, shame on you, Jerry Jones. Shame on you for not just keeping Jason Garrett, but to think that Dak Prescott can carry your team in year 3, that he could be this elite franchise quarterback. Come on, we all knew he was a product of that offensive line. Not saying he can't be a franchise quarterback, but he can. But see, what you're doing now is you're hurting his development. You're hurting his development because you thought he was Tom Brady. You thought you could take away all his receivers and he's just gonna go out there and he's gonna be fine. No, he was never gonna be fine. You need at least a number 2 receiver, right? You at least need, look at Detroit. Detroit has Marvin Jones and Golden Tate. I don't think either of those guys are number 1 receivers, but they're very, very good number 2 receivers. And that's why a Matthew Stafford can beat a Green Bay Packers, because he has those weapons. And Prescott is nowhere near the arm talent that Matthew Stafford is. Nowhere near it. Yeah, you have Ezekiel Elliott. Yeah, he's great, but running backs don't win championships. Quarterbacks and defenses do. That's just the way it is. So, and you're trying to make him be Tom Brady, but Tom Brady, people forget, it took him time. He had pieces. It took him time to become Tom Brady. And that's why we should give Dak Prescott more time. But again, you need to give him help. His best receiver cannot be Tavon Austin. That's absolutely ridiculous. Who the hell is Jeff Swaim? Stop. There was receivers out there. And why did you not make a move for Josh Gordon? Why? He's a Texas kid. I understand he has issues, but it doesn't matter. He was available for a 5th round pick, and you didn't trade him? Come on, let's be honest. Jerry Jones is not, character issues has never stopped him from getting players. So he should have got him. He did not help this quarterback. He was living in fantasy land. What do you expect? The Cowboys were never a playoff team. They were never a playoff team this year. And that is not Jason Garrett's fault. That is not Dak Prescott's fault. That is Jerry Jones' fault. He's been in this league for way too long to make this type of mistake. There was also plenty of good wide receivers in the draft. And he took this kid named Michael Gallup, who wasn't even the best 3rd round receiver drafted. So, Jerry Jones, this season, it's on you. Moving on to college football. What a good weekend of college football. What a good weekend. There was a few really top 25 games, and there was that Miami FSU game, which, my partner Sol, big Miami fan. He loves Miami, and I actually, for many, many years, I used to not like Miami. But I've always been a huge Mark Richt supporter. The reason being, he does things the right way. He's an honest guy. Players like playing for him. I'm always going to root for a coach for that. So once he got the Miami job, now I'm a big Miami fan. It looked bad. It looked bad in the beginning of that game. FSU was up by a lot, and I was already envisioning, oh my God, if they lose this game, everyone's going to be like, all right, Mark Richt, he doesn't have what it takes. He's not a elite coach. This is what he is. He's just mediocre. I was waiting for it. But somehow, he came back and he won that game with his quarterback who's raw, makes mistakes, but is very talented in Coach Perry. Very talented. And they won that game because of good coaching. And Mark Richt showed why he's a very good coach. Yes, he might not be elite. In my mind, I think he can be, but he's not. That's Nick Saban. But he showed why he's a top college football coach and why Miami made the right decision to hire him. And he's a very good play caller. People don't understand that. When he was in Georgia, one of the reasons things fell apart, and they were never really that bad, is because he handed over the play calling duties to offensive coordinator. So now that he's calling the plays, he's coaching the quarterbacks, I think Miami's on the right track. I'm very excited to see what happens, as I think they will be a playoff team soon. Not this year, but I think they're a year or two away from contending in the playoffs. So very excited to see what's going to happen with them. Now, down the Big 12, we had a little bit of a shootout in the Red River shootout. I mean, Oklahoma versus Texas, that game was great. It was just back and forth. Murray, Ellinger, they were just going back at it. It was a great game. I had my money on Texas. I like Oklahoma, but I just felt like this was at home. This was a must win for Texas, must win for Tom Herman to keep the momentum going forward. Because after Tom Herman lost that first game against Maryland, there was some concern about him, but it's a big win for Tom Herman. This win is gonna help him keep those recruits in Texas because he had a top recruiting class, and he's still gonna lose some to Jimbo Fisher, but this is gonna help. This win is really gonna help because he's gonna say, "Hey guys, I beat Oklahoma." So big win for Texas. One more thing that's going on in college football: Notre Dame is the truth. Kelly was on the hot seat, but Notre Dame's been patient. He's been developing those recruits, and they look really good. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to be that number 4 team. I don't see them really. Maybe they lose one game, but even if they lose one game, they're a playoff team. They've been steamrolling on teams. This kid, Ian Book, I mean, he took over for Brandon Wimbush. He looks like the real deal. I mean, Kelly's never been good at developing these 4 or 5-star quarterbacks. Never. He's never been good. But he's so good with these 2, 3-star guys. It's incredible. I guess they don't have the ego. They just come in and they work, but he just does such a good job fitting those guys into this system. There's been so many 5-star quarterback busts in this program, but somehow he's got this 3-star guy, Ian Book, and he's looking really good in this system, and he's going to have him for the next few years. So it's going to be exciting to see what Notre Dame does. And just so you guys know, I don't like Notre Dame. Never been a fan. I just don't like them. Even I went to St. John's. We'd go to the basketball games, and those games were always testy, St. John's versus Notre Dame. So I don't like them, but got to give props when props are due. Congrats to Notre Dame. So this is a time of the year, we're getting towards the middle of the football season, but basketball is also starting a little bit earlier this year, and so I like to bring on our guest for the day, Rez Islam, to talk some basketball with us. Rez, how are you today?
Hey, Mash, I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm well. NBA preseason's already here. Can you believe it?
I feel like it snuck up on me. I feel like
Yeah,
football just, I mean, it's always football just gets started, but they also started the season, they're starting the season 2 weeks earlier now. And that
yeah,
started what, like last year, I think?
yeah, yeah,
So it really starts way sooner than you think it will.
yeah. I mean, Adam Silver's really good. They're trying to take out like the NFL's market share, and that's why they're starting the season earlier. And it seems to be working good because people are talking about the NBA, even though NFL is king right now, people are still talking about the NBA.
No, that's true. I mean,
Yeah,
I still think NFL is king, but
yeah,
there's a lot of good storylines in the NBA this year. A lot of things to
yeah.
keep an eye out for.
Yeah. So let's start off. Let's talk about our hometown team. You know, the New York Knicks. I know me and you, we both share very similar feelings over the years of what's been going on with them.
It's almost we're almost on 20 years now. We're what,
Like,
18 years. 18 years.
there's been less good years and definitely more bad years. Definitely more bad years. A lot more.
A lot more bad years in my life now. They haven't been good since I was like 15, and they haven't been consistent contenders since 2000, since Patrick Ewing left.
Yeah.
And there was they made the playoffs once with Marbury and then once with Carmelo, or twice with Carmelo. But they only made one deep run with Carmelo, and that was when he had all those veterans, Jason Kidd, and everyone else that was on that team.
Right. Yeah, but it's always been short-lived. It's never been like more than 1 year, and then everyone becomes too old, or they just like revamp the team. You know?
Well, they always get the players when they're old, so it's not that they become too old. They already get over-the-hill players. They don't ever sign or develop young talent. Anytime someone's good, they trade them away, or they scare them out of town. You know, like Jeremy Lin, he may have fallen off since Linsanity, but he was one of our only homegrown talents in like the last 15 years.
Yeah, he's still a good player. He's
He's
still a
still
very
a good
good
player. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't as good as he was in that run, but
Yeah.
but imagine we kept him. Why not? But why? To appease Melo and J.R. Smith.
Right. And talking about player development. What do you think about what they're doing now with the roster? Do you think they're changing their philosophy and they're trying to build youth and build a team from the ground up? What do you feel about the team and the overall progress on the roster construction?
I mean, so far I really like it. I think our boy Frank is coming along. I mean, he's becoming. I think they're starting to figure out what they have with him. He's not going to be he's not going to be the guy that scores lights out every night. But he's going to be. I think he's going to be a solid player. With Kristaps Porzingis, hopefully he comes back from his injury all right, and hopefully he stays happy with the team. I know he was unhappy when Phil was around, and I know the way Phil treated him probably didn't make him happy. But we really need KP we need KP. He's our only guy. He's really the only guy we've had in the last 18 years that we drafted, that we see is amazing, and that he could be he's that unicorn. He could block shots, shoot the three, rebound. He could do it all. And then, Kevin Knox and these rookies we have this year. I mean, Kevin Knox looks great so far. He's been helping. I mean, I know it's just preseason, but it's nice to see the team win a game, and they've been winning. So it's good. I mean, I really like what they're doing. And it's better. It's a good transition from Phil Jackson's, whatever he was doing, he destroyed the team. He was making one bad decision after another.
Yeah, it seemed that way. It just seemed the culture was really bad, and he was just he didn't take an aggressive approach. It seemed like he was very content with just having mediocre players and mediocre role players. I never liked any of the signings he did, but especially Noah. I mean, it's just disaster. Just another Knicks terrible, just eating up cap room and just destroying the foundation of the team, Another guy, too, I really like, Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson looks really good.
Mitchell Robinson is that modern NBA center where he can run the floor, block shots, go up for the alley-oop if we have guys that can get it to him. He's going to be good. He's going to be really good.
Yeah. I think he's that next guy who does like that next center who doesn't go to college but has a good NBA career, kind of like DeAndre Jordan. Bynum was good for a few years. I think he's that next guy.
Yeah, Bynum was more traditional back to the basket center. Like I see Mitchell Robinson more in like hopefully a better JaVale McGee. You know, running the floor, blocking shots, dunking. And supposedly he likes to trash talk. I mean, he got into Markieff. I think it's Markieff Morris. It was one of the Morris brothers.
Yeah.
Heads. I think it's Markieff Morris, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, the Morris brothers are always butting heads with someone else, so that's good. You gotta hold your own. I like that he's a tough dude, you know? I feel like we've had so many soft players over the years, and that's why I also love KP. Because KP is like this, his personality is a perfect fit for New York. You know, he's just a dog, you know? He's a grinder. You just look at his eyes, he means business. Just like in New York means business, you know? And that's why I love him. I love him.
No, for sure. But what I really like, I think we talked about Phil Jackson and the culture. You mentioned that. I love, Fizdale. I think there were some better coaches that were out there.
I agree.
Like Dwayne Casey. He became available after we already brought on Fizdale. But I really like Fizdale's. I think it's good that he's younger. I think it's good that he knows he made a mistake with Marc Gasol and the way he handled a European player in Memphis, and he's really trying hard to make sure he doesn't make the same mistakes with Kristaps Porzingis. And it seems like he's been just trying really hard to change the culture and make a connection with the players. Everyone seems to really like him. From what I'm reading out of camp, Courtney Lee, a veteran that has been around the block. He's been in the league more than 10 years, almost 10 years now, I think.
Yeah.
And so he knows teams, he knows how cultures can work, and and even Courtney Lee sees a positive change.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And I definitely thought there were better coaches out there. But he definitely seemed like the right fit. You know, we've also had so many, like, tame coaches. You know, since Jeff Van Gundy, I felt like we didn't have a real, like, New York Knicks coach, you know? Some of these guys were good, but their personality didn't fit. But I feel that with Fizdale. I feel like he's the right guy for New York.
No, I agree. I mean, how many coaches? It's a coaching carousel over here. I mean, who did we go through? Lenny Wilkins, Larry Brown, Mike D'Antoni.
Yeah.
I can't even. I mean, those are just the big names. There were so many spots.
There's too many.
Yeah.
But there's some hope. Even if they're not good this year, I think there's some hope with the foundation of the Knicks, and it seems like they're like one good draft away, right? Like good draft away.
I think I agree. I mean, I think they shouldn't be good this year, you know? And if Kristaps Porzingis isn't coming back, I don't see how they can be good this year. You know, I don't know if there's just enough talent on the roster. And the East, even though LeBron left, I think it's, Kawhi Leonard came back. I think it's still going to be a dogfight for, to get into the playoffs. I mean, it'd probably be a small dogfight, it's maybe a sub 500 teams getting in, but I don't know if the Knicks will even be a 500 team this year.
Right. All right, cool. Yeah, man. So yeah, hopefully, Knicks fans, we have hope. And things we're hopefully headed in the right direction now. That's all we can hope for. And moving on, one of the biggest stories this offseason was where will LeBron go? And he ended up with the Lakers. And there's been a ton of stuff going on with that, with LA necessarily not embracing him giving an attitude to the LA media every day, and just like, is he a right fit for that team? What's going on? What's your thoughts about the whole situation over there?
I mean, initially I didn't like the move, but he did the right thing for him. He's thinking about his life. I feel like with this move, he's thinking about cementing his legacy and his life after basketball. I think the team that they built around him, it's not much better than any team he's had in the NBA, except for those Heat teams. Those Heat teams are great. But every team he had with the Cavs, it was always a bunch of players that I felt like never really fit with him. Like Lonzo Ball and Rajon Rondo are both players that need the ball in their hand to succeed. And so does LeBron. LeBron needs to be surrounded with shooters. He got Josh Hart, and who? Contavious Caldwell-Pope, and maybe Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma could shoot the three, but he needs players that can shoot the three. And they also don't have a center right now. They have JaVale McGee, who I talked about earlier. I said I want Mitchell Robinson to be like him, but you can't play him 40 minutes a game.
Right. So my issue with the whole move is so the Lakers, they have a lot of good young players, but I don't know if any of these guys are going to end up being superstars. I'm just not sure yet. They could end up being really good, but I'm not sure if any of these guys, Ball, Ingram, Kuzma, I'm still not sure if they're superstars. So that's why I don't get the move. There's been a lot of stuff why isn't LA embracing him and all this stuff? But in terms of legacy, I think he made the worst move, because why would LA fans appreciate him if he doesn't win a ring when every other superstar who has come to LA has won a ring? Why should they put him up on the pedestal? Because he didn't do better than anyone previous from him. He actually did worse. So how is this the best? That's why I don't get how this, in his mind, is the best move for his legacy. I think in a few years, when he starts slowing down, I think he's going to end up regretting this move, actually. I think he's going to end up regretting it, and it's going to look worse on him, as it seems like so many moves he has made in his career has. And I think this is another indecisive move by LeBron that ends up just not working out.
I mean, so far every move he's made, aside from the decision, I think has worked out for him. I mean, the decision itself, not the championships he won in Miami. I feel like LeBron going to the Lakers is him embracing a challenge. Everything you just said is a reason why he would want to go and do it. He wants to make them embrace him. He wants to live up to Kareem, Magic, Kobe, Shaq, all those guys, to the guys that came before him. Yeah, I mean, he could come to New York. I would have loved it if he came to New York and he won, and he helped us get to the playoffs or even win a championship since the 70s.
Right.
But with the Lakers, I feel like he's, he's taking what you just said and making that his motivation.
Right. But don't you think, right, for his legacy though, the best place he could have gone was actually New York? Because he doesn't even need to win a title here. And New York is still the best market, not LA. So even for his brand, I would think New York would have been the place he would want to come to. Or do you think he just doesn't want to deal with James Dolan and all that stuff?
I mean, James Dolan has a toxic culture, from what I can tell. From everything I've read, working for James Dolan isn't something that's easy to do.
Yeah.
And LeBron is very keyed into all the going-ons of the NBA. So I feel like if he felt like he could work for or with James Dolan, he would. I mean, I think he made I feel like he made a good decision for himself and his family. It's what he wanted to do, and I just hope that always watching him play. I appreciate it more and more every year, because I realize it's one of the best players on the planet that we're watching, maybe ever. He might be the best player in our lifetime. Sure. And we get to watch him night in and night out, and we should just appreciate it. I mean, I used to be a LeBron hater.
No, I agree with that. I do enjoy watching him play. I do, and because one day he's not going to be there anymore, and you're going to miss him. You're going to miss him. So enjoy it while it lasts.
Oh, exactly. I mean, those years after Jordan retired and before LeBron really became a thing, a force. There was it was a downtime in the NBA. I mean, the Lakers won a few championships, Pistons, the Spurs, but Kobe was just running amok all over the NBA because there wasn't anyone really to challenge him. And I don't think Kobe and LeBron ever went on a head-to-head challenge because they never faced each other in a championship. Yeah. But in those transition years, I think they were the least watched NBA finals in the mid-2000s. When the Nets and Spurs were playing, and the Pistons and Lakers. No one really. There was no drama. I think LeBron adds LeBron adds a drama factor because he's so good. Watching him either succeed or fail is always entertaining to watch.
It's true, and it's great for the NBA.
Yes.
Yeah. So and I know you are also a commissioner of our fantasy basketball league. So, and I know I have people always ask me like, oh, how do you even play fantasy basketball? How does it work? Because most people play fantasy football, but fantasy basketball is kind of a different animal. So I'm gonna start off with this. What do you think it takes to be a successful fantasy basketball owner?
It's actually, I think, kind of simple. It takes a knowledge, I think a basic knowledge of the game. And then, just commitment. I mean, it's not like football with one game a week. You have to change your lineups. I mean, I see a lot of really good teams in the league just not win because because the managers just aren't updating the lineups.
Yeah.
And it seems simple, but I think that's having a knowledge of the game and then a commitment to playing it. I think is the most important.
Yeah, because it's a daily grind, it's a commitment, and in order to win, you gotta be on top of it, right? Every day there's games. Every day there's games. So
yeah, I mean, you put yourself in the best position to succeed by having someone play. There's always a chance that they might crap out, but you should have someone on the court, and I really think those are the first two things to begin to be successful. And then there's all these different strategies about punting, category, and it also depends on your league scoring system. If you do a point system like you do in the NFL, I've seen larger leagues that are 14 to 20 team leagues where they do, instead of head-to-head categories, they do a point total where each stat is worth a different point. Like an assist could be worth 2 points, a rebound 1.5. And, you have to know your league scoring, and you just have to make sure that have a strategy. I always love talking about fantasy basketball with people. If you're going to draft Dwight Howard, you got to make sure you punt free throws that year.
Yeah. It's
you're going to win.
Also, I do think, talking about, staying on top of it, if it's too much for you, co-manager, that can help too. Take some of the daily work out of it. That's what I do, and it helps a lot. It helps.
Yeah, I mean, the league that we're in has multiple teams with co-managers.
Yeah. It's definitely a good idea. So, who are your top 5 players in fantasy this year?
I mean, I think it's the same top 5 has been for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. The fifth one always gets a little tricky.
Right.
But I got to go with LeBron this year, just because he's going to have to play well to be with the Lakers. He just moved to the Lakers. He's going to play well. I don't think he's going to take a lot of nights off.
He can, because it's a show, and he's going to have high usage, I'm sure.
He's going to have high usage. It's going to be a fight, just to get into the playoffs. It's not going to be you can just coast. The other guy on the bubble there, I think, would be Anthony Davis. With Anthony Davis, though, I think he's just due for an injury. I feel bad saying something like that about a big name player, but
I feel that way too, because everyone's like, oh, he's the next best player in the NBA, but I'm always like, yeah, but what if he gets injured again? I just feel like it's looming for some reason.
But because everyone has that fear and he has that injury-prone tag, there's a lot of good value to have there. I always see him fall to the end of the first round when he could easily be a top 5 pick. You could justify, if he plays all season, he might be a top 5 easy.
All right. Yeah. So, who are your top 5 sleepers for fantasy?
Well, sleepers get a little tricky just because, especially as I was saying, based on the scoring, if it's a categories thing, for sleepers, you might want to try to lock up someone late that helps you in a specific category, like Tristan Thompson. In years past, the Tristan Thompson who would be a rebounding specialist or something like that. I mean, this year, top 5. I think Tyreek Evans. A lot of people overlook him. I think there's good value to be had across the board with him. Alan Krabby. The Nets don't have much in the way of scoring, and he's just a 3-point specialist. There's, it gets a little trickier after that. I think Larry Nance. I mean, you look at the Cavaliers roster, and someone has to play, right?
I like that Larry Nance. I think Larry Nance is one of those guys that the Cavs in their mind are building around. I think that's the guy that they love, absolutely love.
Yeah, I mean, Larry Nance is a do-it-all type of guy, but his problem has been health, and he's an undersized center for for the position. But small ball lineups, he should be okay. Um, so Larry Nance is one. I mean, as far as sleepers go, I think I think those are the three that come to mind. If some more come up, I'll let you know. But
all right.
no,
No, it's hard. It's easy to do in like the NFL, right? But in basketball, it's not. It's totally different animal, and it's kind of like it will develop as the season goes on. Someone gets hurt, and there's this guy who comes out of nowhere. But you don't know who that guy is yet. You don't know who he is.
I mean, I feel like with the Knicks, they have so many point guards, but I think Trey Burke could be a potential sleeper, especially early on to help you win. I don't know if he's going to be there for the full season, but I think early on he's going to be playing and he's going to be scoring.
Maybe. We'll see.
And then there's Markelle Fultz. Markelle Fultz is working on his shot.
You think so? So he's not a bust? Markelle Fultz is not a bust?
Markelle Fultz is not a bust. There's no way it's too early to say he's a bust. He hardly played last year.
No, I agree, but I still thought Jason Tatum was a guy they should have picked regardless. But especially if Ben Simmons is playing the point. But whatever. I mean, yeah. So yeah.
Ben Simmons is playing the point, but Markelle Fultz, he's working on his shot. What was he doing? Did you see the videos of him shooting, laying down on the floor?
Here's my thing about just Philly in general. They messed it up. They messed their chance up for winning a championship by firing Sam Hinkie. I think he had them on the right track, and then when Colangelo came in, he just didn't fully embrace the process. Brett Brown did, their coach, and I just think what their optimal roster would look like, they lost their chance at that. I think it'd be much better right now with Sam Hinkie.
No, I mean,
I don't
know. I
think they would have at least one more superstar. I think they would have had Jason Tatum, because that he wouldn't have given up another first rounder to get Markelle Fultz. Sam Hinkie wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't.
You're probably right. Sam Hinkie likes to trade players for assets.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, look at KJ McDaniels. He looked like he was going to be an amazing player with the Sixers. I think was it Sam Hinkie that traded him? Yeah, I think it was.
And his worst move was trading Michael Carter-Williams, but that actually ended up being the right move because Michael Carter-Williams sucks.
Yeah, Michael Carter-Williams can't shoot. I think that's his biggest problem. He can't shoot.
And that's probably the most important thing you need to know how to do. Is with
a point guard, I think. One that needs to spread the floor. But yeah.
All right, man. Thank you for joining us. That was some great insight. I'd love to have you on again sometime, man. Especially once the season starts.
No, I'm down for sure.
That was awesome. Thanks, Rez.
No problem.
Good stuff. That was some real good NBA stuff. Real good. Thanks for joining us, Rez. I mean, that was really good. I'm gonna have him back for sure. That was some real good insight. Look forward to see what's gonna happen in this NBA season going forward. I'm also looking forward to the rest of the week. Is LaShawn McCoy gonna get traded to the Eagles? What's going on with Bell? I think we're going to see a bunch of NFL trades going forward. I think in past years we've seen that too. And I think going forward towards the trade deadline, I see teams being aggressive and making some moves. And I think we see a trade this week. That's my prediction. I think before then, I think we will see a trade. Also, we had a big fight last Saturday. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it was a lot. We're going to do a UFC special, which will be out this week, reviewing the fight. Really big fight. All I have to say about this fight is I'm really happy that Khabib made Conor step like chicken. Very happy about that, as I predicted that would happen, and that is what happened. I also think this will be the turning point for the UFC. I think this fight will end up being the fight that makes UFC mainstream. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm becoming a bigger UFC fan. I think a lot of people are. We're going to discuss, we're going to talk about all the drama. So look out for that podcast. Also, guys, we are about to open up our social media platforms. We just started a Facebook page, Mass and Soul. We will provide the link to our fans. So we will, going forward, post all our videos on that and all our recordings on that, and we're gonna try to engage with our fans and see what you guys want to hear. So again, we love all the support we've gotten so far. Soul will be back we're gonna do another episode end of the week to review all the week. Soul will be back for that. So really excited about that. Thanks for listening, guys. And I'll see you next time. Peace.
Hustling, 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 hustling. Every day I'm hustling, 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 every day I'm hustling.